mental patient told me recently that the Devices Lobby is the most powerful lobbying network in the country at the moment, and indeed, this countryside is full of Masonic mafia networks, so it's interesting to consider that the Royal Arch Freemasons are running a lot of the schemes around here, including down here in Warminster. Indeed, the Masonic mafia here interlinks with C.J. Robbins' butcher's shop, which is run by Master Masons of Wyvern Lodge number 8620 and its sister lodge, Longleat Lodge. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, these Masonic mafias are brethren of the Order of Nine Angles, interestingly. So these are new Eon people attempting to implement an authoritarian police state in the United Kingdom, with the Butcher Shop Freemasons designed to become lords in a new techno-feudal state. So it's interesting to consider. Indeed, there are incentives to become a part of the Masonic mafia around here. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, as I stated before, I believe that these Masonic mafias are themselves coordinated and handled by high IQ societies that don't necessarily go in for the hocus pocus of Freemasonry. The Royal Arch Freemasonry is a very powerful network within British intelligence and the British government. So it's all very interesting to note the overwhelming power of these Freemasonic networks. And indeed, as I stated before, there is a Masonic intelligence network called The Network in inverted commas that basically wants to implement Druidic rites on the country. So it's interesting to consider they're angling for a new state religion based on ritual fetishism, cannibalism, and necrophilia. So it's interesting to consider. Indeed, these guys operating in coordination with Devices Police are themselves Masonic druids, such as Steve Cook of Waterrose and Sons Butcher Shop. Indeed, Steve Cook is a high-ranking Freemason and Grand Druid of the Order of Nine Angles, interestingly. So he runs percentages of the 764 network in Devices that my viewers would know as M-Gang. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, Steve Cook runs a lot of these networks. Indeed, Steve Cook's son, Charlie Cook, is a notorious pederast and touches up little boys. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, these are the kind of people that are running that satanic market town, i.e. Devices. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, these networks of pig farmers and landowners have organized their own Masonic mafias for centuries that basically do not tolerate mental patients being around the locality attempting to expose them. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, I am not your average British mental patient. I am a psychic spy with Russian psychic spies in my head giving me information. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, these Russian psychic spies are providing me with coordinates and locations of black sites being run by Wiltshire Masonic mafiosi. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, there is a house 10 miles north-northwest from Durrington where basically a lot of these designer jean short wearing wannabe gangsters are to be found, raping children and eating their flesh. So it's all very interesting indeed. This house is known in intelligence circles as Warmley House, though I doubt on the map it would be found under the title Warmley House. However, this is the title it's designated in intelligence code. So it's all very interesting indeed. A lot of the transmissions and frequencies I receive are in intelligence code, so sometimes it's rather difficult exactly to decipher what exactly the intended meaning is. It's all cryptic, so it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, The devices Masonic Mafia are attempting to have me arrested on charges of treason, i.e., the security services, MI5, would pick me up for spying on Warminster military base for the GRU. However, this is not the case. Indeed, these Russian psychics that inhabit my brain are not GRU anyway, and are not operating for the Russian government, so there is no legitimate legal bounds that could have me arrested for working for the Russian state, as I'm not working for the Russian state. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, it's funny how the Wiltshire people still have a Cold War hive mind mentality and are scared of anything remotely Russian. Indeed, the Wiltshire landowners, being paedophile ring people, are terrified of Russians. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, Ed Giles, the paedophile ring operative who runs Rose's Ironmongers and Devises, is chiefly a clan leader for a Druid network operating under the cover of darkness in the Wiltshire countryside, raping infants and sacrificing babies, mainly of Russian origin. So it's all very interesting to consider. A lot of these Russian children are being trafficked by Chechens to Warminster military base. So it's all very interesting how all this interlinks up. Indeed, the defense intelligence operatives running Warminster military base are themselves Grand Druids of various necrophile orders. So it's interesting to consider all of these interconnecting Grand Druid and Freemason networks running Wiltshire, overseen by British intelligence cells. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, the Israeli Mossad also has a stake in the child trafficking operations being run to and from Wiltshire manor houses, through Walter Rose and Sons butcher shop, courtyard. So it's interesting to consider. Indeed, I've spoken before of the fact that Walter Rose and Sons butcher shop, courtyard in Devizes processes up to, or perhaps more than, 100,000 children per year of various nationalities, including Russian, Azeri, and Georgian. So it's all very interesting to consider. A lot of this trade seems to be centered on the former Soviet countries. So it's all very interesting. It's all very interesting to consider that Wiltshire landowners, pig farms, and Masonic mafiosi would be scared of a Russian heritage psychic spy. So it's all very interesting to consider. And as I stated before, although I may be a Russian heritage psychic spy, I have no ties to the Putin regime or the standard Russian intelligence services. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, my idea is to expose devices and the landowners and Freemasons that coordinate the international traffic of children and the organ harvesting cartel operations of Walter Rose and Sons butcher shop, which is a very interesting topic to analyze, I'm finding at the moment. Indeed, there are so many interconnecting networks with Walter Rose and Sons butcher shop that at times it's quite difficult to navigate the intelligence that I'm receiving through transmissions on Walter Rose and Sons butcher shop. Indeed, I believe I've identified an Aaron Burnham, who was the leader of the designer jean short wearing wannabe gangsters, operative for these networks of Freemason mafiosi, recruited from Durrington. So it's all very interesting to consider that Walter Rose and Sons butcher shop Masonic mafiosi recruit these designer jean short wearing wannabe gangsters to oversee the processing of children before they are transferred to Waterrose and Sons Butcher's Shop, interlinking manor houses and countryside estates, such as Bowood House near Calne. Indeed, as I've stated also, that the Calne police run a parallel child abduction operation, usually of UK national children, all around the UK. So it's interesting. PC Stuart Welsh of Calne Police runs this network personally with help from the Mossad. Indeed, the Mossad designate specific vulnerable toddlers and infants for abduction by PC Stuart Welsh all over the UK. So it's all very interesting to consider and analyse the fact that Wiltshire really is the heartland of Wiltshire paedophile rings and the organ trade. So it's interesting to consider that Wiltshire is also the heart of the defence industry, and a lot of the land is actually owned by the Ministry of Defence. So it's all very interesting to consider that the Defence Intelligence spooks are themselves high-ranking Grand Druids, and it makes you think, really, what entity is running this nation? So it's really quite a scary concept to consider. What kind of people are running the UK? So I really do realise that I'm treading into quite dangerous waters by exposing the Wiltshire pig farmer Masonic mafiosi, but I don't care. I don't believe they can kill me. Indeed, they've tried to organise assassins of various ethnicities on me over the years, and apparently been told to fuck off. So it's all very interesting to consider this. Indeed, this is a bit of a piecemeal operation by Devizes Police to investigate my Russian links. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, these Russian psychic spies that are keeping me company are not Russian government operatives. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, the Russian government and I have no connections whatsoever. Indeed, my psychic spying capabilities are utilized for the cosmic intelligence services, not the Russian intelligence services. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, perhaps my exposure of Devizes Police and the Waterrose and Sons Butcher Shop was a bit of a harebrained scheme, as now I am in a pretty unenviable position where a whole county wants to kill me. It's all very interesting to consider that basically large percentages of this county want to murder me. So it's interesting how much power the Masonic Mafia has in this county, and the fact that they are able to keep everyone's brains in a hive mind and a Cold War mentality. It's all very strange to consider. Indeed, I'm being cast as a traitor for exposing Devizes Police. However, I do not see that as betrayal at all. That should be the natural duty of a citizen, to expose the police filth. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, the organ trade in Devizes interlinks with a parallel organ harvesting operation in Bristol. Indeed, the organ harvesting operations are generally run through the cities. However, it's interesting that Devizes is a flashpoint for the organ trade. Indeed, the catacombs beneath Waterrose and Sons Butcher Shop currently contain large numbers of individuals of Russian, Ukrainian and Georgian heritage who are all mental patients, who are all set to be sacrificed in a grand ritual by Druids and die Blutordnung that they believe is necessary to bring about my death. Indeed, they have assigned a hitman, Vermin, aka Cassius Lynch or Cass Lynch, who is set to appear on my birthday and rape me, ritually sacrifice me, fuck my dead body, fuck my organs, and then eat everything. So it's all very interesting to consider what is going on here. Indeed, Vermin is operative, interestingly, for an Azov battalion sub-branch, i.e. an Order of Nine Angles network. And I'm not too sure of the name of this particular Order of Nine Angles network at the moment, but they are really bad people and are in communication with the Maniac Murder Cult. Indeed, the Maniac Murder Cult is very much a branch of the Order of Nine Angles, and the Maniac Murder Cult are just running around the former Soviet territories raping children all the time. So it's interesting to consider. I've also stated that the Maniac Murder Cult are themselves a concept created by the British police with a lot of connections to Wiltshire Freemasons. Indeed, Maniac Murder Cult form part of a child trafficking operation being operated in Russia, which is run directly from Wiltshire Police Headquarters. Indeed, Special Branch have foreknowledge of an impending terrorist attack by Kurdish militants on Wiltshire Police Headquarters, which is going to be framed as a Russian attack on the Wiltshire Police Headquarters, which will kickstart a global conflict. So it's interesting to consider, as I stated, how powerful the devices lobby is, that they can arrange international scenarios. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, I'm in a very precarious position at the moment. Indeed, I do not particularly like the town of Warminster because of the nature of the residents. Indeed, there are so many idiots here, it's unbelievable. So it's all very interesting to consider. And of course, the Devizes Police organ trade interlinks here through CJ Robbins' butcher shop. And of course, the Warminster military intelligence capacity, i.e. defense intelligence spooks, and their druidry and their involvement in satanic ritual abuse of local children. So it's all very interesting to consider. This Wiltshire really is the heart of darkness, the most disgusting county on planet Earth. Indeed, these devices rings reach epic proportion of cruelty to children that it's really, really quite scary. Indeed, I've delineated the truth about devices many times over the course of this video diary. Indeed, I'm going to move on to other topics soon, because I believe I've explained as much as I really need to about the nature of Devices Police and Devices Residents and the organ harvesting and child trafficking cartel operations of Waterrose and Sons Butcher's Shop, which are truly nefarious and vile. So it's interesting to consider. Indeed, PC Callum Hetherington of Devices Police is attempting to organise an Albanian hitman on me again. So it's very interesting to consider. This man is a confidential police informant and raped his sister when she was 12. So it's all very interesting to consider the nature of what I am exposing regarding devices and the fact that they want to kill me, because it's all fucking true. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, everything I've said about devices is true. So I'm going to leave it there now. Thank you.